first of all, there is no golden calf. There is no magic bullet. Find the platform that you like the most. But
Yeah.
if I'm doing content for the algorithm, like I'm assuming most of your content creators are small business owners in some way or another, and they're doing it because they don't want to have a boss. Why am I treating LinkedIn like my boss? Why am I treating TikTok like my boss? A
Right, right.
plan executed at 40% will always outperform the perfect plan that sits in a drawer. So just do it.
Hi, this is Shubham Tiwari. I'm the community manager of the Thousand Faces Club, and I welcome you to the Fireside Chats, where we bring to you your favorite creators and we try to open up their playbooks and try to understand their processes. Please enjoy this episode. The author of To Sell is Human, Daniel Pink, says that we're all in the business of sales, no matter what we're trying to create, sell, or simply trying to make others see our point of view. We've also seen David Mamet's Glengarry Glen Ross and the extremes,
Yeah.
a salesperson may have to go through. So it
Yeah.
gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you our guest today, who's called the Unsales Guy. He's on a
Yes.
mission to fix salespeople. He trains
Yeah.
people to sell in a way that increases customer satisfaction and makes the salesperson feel better about what they do. He's the lead
Yes.
sales trainer at the Broken Salespeople and hosts the Broken Salespeople podcast. Red Stafstrom. Sorry about that.
it
Well,
it sounds like a piece of IKEA furniture. Don't worry about getting it right. Most people don't. Like that was the big inside joke at my wedding. Even it's like, nope, staff storms.
so Red Stafstrom, welcome to the Thousand Faces Club. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing good. Thanks so much for having me.
So, the title I just, as I told our audience, the Unsales Guy. Can
Yes.
you elaborate on that? How, tell us more about yourself.
So the more I became the unsales guy when I tried to do sales the traditional way for so many years, and it hurt me over and over again. I kept trying to push that Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, always be closing mentality
Yeah.
forever, and it led to this point of breakdown, of burnout, like literally crying in a factory parking lot breakdown. From there, it was about rebuilding it and learning the ways that sales was originally built from um, John H. Patton with National Cash Register and his primer, onto Dale Carnegie, onto Augmendino, onto Cialdini, onto Neil Rackham, and rebuilding it all.
Right.
And what I found is the original idea of this high pressure, like, we need to sell everybody. Like, there's always some magic words to convince somebody. We have to bulldoze somebody into this direction. The more I looked into it, the more I found that isn't true. And it's actually hurting sales as an industry and the reputations that we're having. So I'm the unsales guy because I don't like what most salespeople teach. It's not about getting people to say yes enough times so that they feel hypocritical if they say no to you when you ask for the
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah.
It's about you and them versus the problem versus me versus them.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very much about getting rid of the stereotype of like Danny DeVito and Matilda and these,
Right.
again, that Alec Baldwin always be
Alec
closing,
Baldwin. Yeah. It's very, very scary guy. Yeah.
yeah, no, because that's not what customers want.
Yeah.
Customers don't want you to be this, like, nobody wants to deal with that character.
Right.
And the more you think about sales, the less you actually want to engage with salespeople
Yeah.
because of how the training has been. So I'm the unsales guy because I'm trying to make it not be salesy. Like I'm training people in sales to not be salesy.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, Red, speaking of social media, nowadays, everyone is trying to sell an image over, over social media, one kind of social media or another. And we see you engaging with, your social media, particularly on LinkedIn. You post candid moments of your family, on social media. So, we recently saw that you posted a picture with your daughter as well.
Yes.
But a lot of people, you understand, what I'm saying, that they are not very open
It's not
to
for
all these
everybody.
kinds of, yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you create, I mean, that kind of bond as well as engagement, and let's say at the
So
end of the day, impact with that kind of post.
I think the way to look at that first is why should you create that bond?
Yeah.
Like because the how is easy. You just put yourself out there. You express that vulnerability, and people engage or they don't. Like that's perfectly fine. The big thing you need to know if you're a content creator who's looking to sell a product, it's all about trust. Like, yes, people say, like, okay, it's all about building relationships, but that's only part of it. Trust is based on, I believe it was Sean Covey who wrote this. Trust is equal to character plus competency.
Wow.
So by showing the picture of me and my daughter and me with all the Marvel comic stuff and the Ninja Turtle
Yeah.
like statue behind me, like that's showing my character. It shows what I value. It shows the ideals that I kind of align with. That's my character side.
Right.
Then when I'm going on shows like this, it's a place for me to show my competence, to show that I know about sales, that I've, read all the books that I mentioned in the last question,
Yeah.
that I understand the way business is built and how to change and tweak and adjust everything. That's what this is all about is character, me with my kids, showing that I'm a family man. It's the same reason politicians run ads with pictures of kids in them all the
Yeah.
time.
Family. Correct.
Yeah. And I'm not doing it in a manipulative way. Obviously, I plan to keep my daughter at least until like she eats the leftovers I was really looking forward to. But
Yeah.
that's the idea is showing that, that relationship, showing that I'm a decent person, quasi decent, like I'm passable. Like I'm a really good Sasquatch, but I'm a decent person.
Right. Right. We believe you.
um but and then show that I know what I'm talking about. And between those two things, showing that character and that competency, it builds that trust that I'm looking for.
Right, right, right. So let's say a creator who's looking to find his voice, and he doesn't have a long term view of of what he wants to achieve. But he first of all needs to convince people, like his content is better, they can engage with it. So what would you say to someone who doesn't have a long term vision around what they're creating nowadays?
Have fun. That's it. Just have fun. Just put out what you like, and if people are attracted to it, and then from there you can narrow it down and figure out what they want. To be honest, that's all market research is. It's throwing things out there until you have a customer base that responds to it.
Right.
So once you find something that you enjoy and you put out there, once you start seeing those people come in,
Yeah.
it becomes so much easier to create more content because they're like, okay, this is the angle I want to go. I can go a little bit more jokey. I could go more serious, and you could move the needle as you need to between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
And
just get going. Have fun with it. Don't overanalyze. Give yourself 3 weeks, let's just
right.
say.
3 weeks.
No real
Okay.
strategy, and then revisit everything afterwards.
Right, right. So speaking of strategy, can you, share with us your go-to content strategy, let's say?
So I've got a couple. I've got a couple. My favorite one that I've come across is from Russell Brunson, and I believe it was Expert Secrets. I'm not sure because he wrote the trilogy of secrets books. Um, the one that he mentioned that really hit home for me was the JK5 method from Jenna Kirshner.
Okay.
And it's the idea of finding 5 topics you really like to talk about and sticking with them and just rotating those out. Now you have a post for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it's sales, it's marketing, it's emotional intelligence, it's humor, and it is number 5 that I'm blanking on at the moment.
Right, right, right. So I
But
mean,
but
sticking,
it's
yeah,
yeah, so
sticking
so
with
when
what
I'm doing
your,
that, I just rotate them.
yeah, rotate your strengths and keep working on them, building on them. So
Mhm.
if I ask you about one, particular, you mentioned the points like marketing, sales. So how do you make a content creator sell his or her content better?
So what I do is help them understand the trust aspect that I talked about before.
Right.
So understand that if you're only talking about one, you only have half the recipe that you're really looking for. So if you're only doing posts, like I know somebody who is a like she sells a diet plan.
Right.
And every post she does is diet plan, diet plan, diet plan, diet plan, diet plan, diet plan.
Consistency.
And
Yeah.
it makes me tune out
Okay.
because everything she says is about this because she's what puts so much weight on the competence side that I don't understand her as a person.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
plus it makes me tune out the content because it's all the same. It's all about like, nope, you're not eating right. Like, yeah, I know that. I know that when I go to the McDonald's drive-through, I know I'm not eating right, but I'm
Right.
still eating.
Yeah.
So understanding like when you sell, you can't be in sales mode 100% of the time.
Okay. Right.
I'm a big believer in 20%.
Only 20% sales mode.
Only 20%.
Okay. Wow.
So what I do is okay, offer content. Like when you saw the post with my daughter, I didn't have a call to action on that post.
Yeah. Nothing.
There
Just
was
a
no call
cute
to
picture.
action.
That's
There
it.
was no engagement. It's about growth versus niche. So what I'll do is I'll put out 4 pieces of growth content
Right.
where okay, I'm trying to bring people in, bring people in, bring people in, and then 20% of the time I put something with a call to action on it. So I'm
Got it.
bringing people in and it's
Yeah.
creating this artificial funnel right in LinkedIn itself.
Right.
Because okay, I'm bringing people in, I have that top of the funnel, and then my next post that they see 1 out of 5 is go to my course. I have a sales for introvert course.
Right.
Like that's what I do. But it's I can't you can't niche down continually, otherwise you're just
Yeah.
niching to 0. You like if you
Yeah.
niche an audience of 0, you have nothing.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
So
It's
have
exhausting.
4
Yeah.
pieces of growth content and 1 piece of call to action content. You don't come across overly salesy,
Yeah.
and it just makes you
More
so
human.
much more three-dimensional.
Yeah. 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 You're right. But
Yeah.
Red, what would you say to those people who say that you should not be salesy at all? What do you say to them?
That's a complicated question because salesy has really it has a very toxic connotation to it.
Yeah.
Like, when you think of somebody who's salesy, you think of that person in that, like,
Pushy.
ugly
Yeah.
plaid suit, like,
Correct.
selling used cars that they rolled the odometer back on.
Yeah.
Like like you have to make sales, but the idea is if you're going to ask for a sale, you have to understand you have to offer something in return.
Right.
I should not look at it where I'm selling you something.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is offering a solution to your problem. It just happens to cost a little money or a little time or whatever. It's a win-win relationship.
Yeah.
But if I don't solve a problem for you, I have no right to be salesy at all.
Right.
So to know when to ask for the sale comes when you know that there's a solution. You know that there's a problem that somebody is experiencing that you can solve.
Right. Absolutely.
So to just be like to tell people they have a problem that they don't have over and over again, that's how you lose all credibility.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
if I like
yeah.
the woman that I was mentioning before with her diet plan, if I was 160 pounds, which I am definitely not,
Yeah.
like, and she's still pushing me on her diet, like, no, I'm scrawny at that point, like for my size and everything. Like,
Right.
I- if she keeps pushing me on her diet plan when I don't need it, that's how you lose all credibility.
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's why the content creation strategy I have is growth and then niche. First, I talk about problems that people have, people identify with them, they come to my content, and then I can use that call to action once I discover that they have that problem.
Right. 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 Absolutely. And if we speak about the format, like the video is all rage nowadays. We see
Yeah,
short form content doing wonderfully well across
yeah,
TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram. So
yeah.
what would your advice be to someone who's looking at so many options nowadays to sell, to newsletters, videos, audio, podcasts? What would you suggest to a person who's just starting out?
First of all, there is no golden calf. There is no magic bullet. There is no anything. Like there, find the platform that you like the most.
Okay.
The content that I like because I like these deeper dives. I don't like this 60-second content clips.
Right.
My content that I enjoy doing the most is usually 8 to 15 minutes. It's like right in that wheelhouse
Right.
because I could go deep enough into a topic, explain it thoroughly. Like that's what I like to do. Now, does the algorithm ping me a little bit once in a while? Yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
if I'm doing content for the algorithm, like uh, I'm assuming most of your content creators are small business owners in some way or another, and they're doing it because they don't want to have a boss.
Yeah,
Why am I treating LinkedIn like my boss? Why am I treating TikTok like my boss?
really
Why am
good
I
point.
treating Facebook like my boss?
Yeah, that's quite liberating actually. As
Yeah.
you said it, yeah, yeah,
And likewise, these platforms are going to change. It's the only constant that we found in the internet age.
yeah,
That marketers figure out what works, which right now is short form content, and then the platforms change. And then the marketers figure out what works in the new world, and the
yeah,
platforms change. And expecting to win this arms race is not sustainable because what's going to work 6 months from now is going to be different.
yeah,
So expect to adapt. Build what you like. Own the business you want. Even okay, so maybe it's 10% less effective than short form content. I actually enjoy doing it.
right. So do what you enjoy. Yeah,
Yes. Because people pick up on that. If you walk into a video and it looks like a chore to you, eh, we have to give our customers way more credit than we generally do. They can
that's
tell
true.
when we're faking it.
Yeah, yeah. They can smell from 100 miles away that you're faking it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And to continue to force something, they're
Yeah,
going to know. So I'm going to be natural. I'm going to be the person I think of every time. Like I'm going to be the person I want to be authentic.
yeah,
And if it works for the algorithm, great. And maybe it only works on, you know, 40% of posts, but I enjoyed 100% of them.
yeah. So enjoying the process should be the priority, and
Yeah.
working with the platform that you enjoy, that you understand, right?
Yes. And understanding that's another issue I see a lot of content creators make too, is
Yeah.
being on too many platforms.
Spreading too thin, I guess, right?
You don't need to be on every platform. You don't need that many customers. You don't need to worry about, oh, well, this one fell through the cracks. They're going to.
Right.
Just admit that. There's enough if there should be enough customers for you to not be worried about losing a handful of them.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're
that's a
in the
very
wrong
good point.
business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know? So yeah, let them fall through. Just acknowledge that you're not going to get every person, but the people you do find, they'll align with your message, they're going to be the right fit for you, they're going
Right.
to like you as a person,
Yeah,
and they'll have so much more staying power than what's your price? Knock
yeah,
20% off. If you're competing on price, anybody undercuts you by 15 cents, they're
yeah.
going to go to them.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So don't do that. Be the person
absolutely.
that they want to work with.
So right. I mean, if we take this, a bit further, how do you establish a long-lasting relationship with your audience or customers? Let's say you're creating, let's say you're a short-form content creator, and that a lot of people are going to quickly move to another piece of content, which is
Mhm.
they just scroll up. So
Yeah.
how do you make that relationship with your customers?
Well, I mean, it's tough to say long term because I've only really been doing my podcast for a few years. So for me to say long term, it's not like I've been doing this for a decade and a half and I could say with that level of expertise. So I'll
Right.
I'll admit that first. But being memorable enough to stand out
Mm,
is
yeah.
a big thing. There's a reason why I have the big red beard. There's the reason why, like, for those of you guys who are listening to this, I literally have a canvas backdrop behind me with Marvel Comics characters. I
Yeah.
look like Yukon Cornelius from the old Rudolph cartoon, like with the big red bushy beard. Like, these are things that I know make me memorable in somebody's mind because I'm not this, person in a navy suit with the top button undone.
Right.
So you get people to stay with you by being memorable in a place where they're bombarded with content.
Right.
Now, how do you become memorable? It's going to be different for each person. Like I can't tell you that I just grew a beard and all of a sudden everything in my life got better. But
Absolutely.
like find a tone of voice, find an inflection, find a scene, find a whatever that can make you memorable in your ideal customer's eyes.
Right. And you just mentioned your podcast, the Broken
Yes.
Salespeople podcast. So please tell us about what you do on it, how many episodes you've done, and. other
So
things.
so I think I'm right around 75 episodes right now.
Nice. Okay.
It's very much about fixing sales. It's about taking the ideas of, again, that always be closing. Um, Overturning objections, like taking all of these classic sales ideas, flipping them on their head and making people look at them in a different way and showing how they got broken and how we fix them in the future
Right.
and how to fix your own sales strategies. Usually, I try to keep the episode relatively easily to digest. Like I said, 8 to 15 minutes, because I don't want to listen to me for that long. Um, um,
I'm sure
but
your
it,
audience would say otherwise, but yeah,
but the idea too is 76% of salespeople do not have time to do any kind of personal development.
that's true. Yeah, they're always on work on track. Yeah.
Yeah, and because they have X number of phone calls that they have to do, like all of this stuff. They boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
They don't have time and sit and listen to a hour-long podcast where me and somebody talk about the in-depth ramifications of Web3.
Yeah.
Like that. What they want is something easily digestible that they can implement today and actually start being better with, like start
Right.
creating better relationships off of. So that's how I structured it. I want something that's easily digestible that they can just kind of turn on, listen to it for a little bit, and jump onto something else.
Right.
Or
So
like while
structure
the
is
coffee is
really
brewing.
important, right? Structure
Yeah.
is also really important in keeping view with your audience. Correct.
Yeah. Because again, this is another thing. Like there's a person who I'm a big fan of that does a lot of current events videos.
Okay.
Now it's like a lot of US political news, talks a lot about world news too, but if he listens to the experts,
Yeah.
you need to post every day at the same time. You need to do like have a weekly schedule. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to edit your videos. You need to really dial in the thumbnails. Like if he did all of those things on YouTube, he would lose because by the time he could create that content, he doesn't have a team of people behind him at CNN to do everything.
Yeah. Correct.
And by the time he would be done with the content, he would have lost the story. He would have lost the uptick in like hashtags and all of that. So he doesn't follow any of those rules of like create a great thumbnail, create this, create that, like because he knows he has to get it out there within an hour or two.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very interesting, right? Because you say you're in a way saying that not every advice is for you, right? You
No,
can't be following
no.
every rule. You can't be worried about thumbnail. You can't be losing your sleep over how your video was edited, something like
A
that, right?
plan executed at 40% will always outperform the perfect plan that sits in a drawer.
Nice. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so just do it. Like you can make tweaks as you go and okay, maybe once you get to a certain point where you've got enough money, you could hire people to do thumbnails, whether even if it's off of Fiverr or Upwork
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
Like but just get started. Execute at 40% and then you can dial up the efficiency later.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of creators are, I mean, they will feel liberated after listening to this because it's been, when you go on YouTube and you're, let's say learning a particular niche,
Yeah.
so much advice is there that you'll
Yeah.
end up in that forest of, fog where you're not
Yeah.
sure which way
Just it
you're going.
creates an action. Like you
Yeah.
have there's so much advice and just because it's good advice for somebody doesn't mean it's good advice for you.
Great. Yeah. That's a great point.
Um, a person I used to work with talked a lot about Dave Ramsey and Grant Cardone.
Okay.
Dave Ramsey hates debt. Like any kind of
Yeah.
debt is
No credit
horrible. Like no
cards.
debt. Literally day one, cut up all your credit
Yeah.
cards, get rid
Yeah.
of everything. Like
Yeah.
that's day one. Grant Cardone loves debt. He's leveraged to the hilt and he's made all of his money by like taking loans and twisting it on the and
Right.
like turning it upside down. And what's right?
Yeah.
There isn't one. Like they're completely against, like they're completely opposite advice, but you could be successful with either. It's about finding what works for you and committing to it.
Absolutely. And you have to avoid inaction, as you just said, at any
Yes.
cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And again,
yeah.
it's you
Yeah.
don't have to do all of it. You don't have to be like Kylie Jenner, who I'm not a fan of, but she's worth $1 billion
Yeah,
now.
a lot. Yeah,
She's
yeah,
not on LinkedIn.
yeah.
You don't
She's a
care about her
businesswoman, but
LinkedIn
not on LinkedIn.
profile.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, if she is, she's not on it.
yeah,
You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be on every platform. You don't have like it's impossible to be everywhere. Go to the place where your customers are and be there.
absolutely. And speaking of the places we are going, Web3 is upon us. And I mean, I'm sure, we've all, looked at it from very various perspectives. So,
Yeah.
how do you look at Web3 and, the Web3 creators, the creators of tomorrow, let's say, to use a very
Yeah.
cliched line? How do you look at Web3? What's your views on it?
Again, I'm looking at Web3 like it's a much more macro shift than when LinkedIn changes their algorithms or
Absolutely, yeah.
Instagram like adds reels or anything like that. But it's just a platform change in my mind. Like
Okay,
the idea is still the same is I need to put myself out there. I need to show that I'm a human being, build trust with my customers, and then once in a while put out some kind of call to action. It
right.
doesn't matter what the platform is. It doesn't matter whether it's, web 3, web 4, web 5, web 6. It doesn't matter whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn. Like the idea is you still have to form a human connection.
Yeah,
So I'm not worried about any platform change.
right.
Like if LinkedIn shut its doors tomorrow because of I don't know, they were smuggling kittens or whatever evil mass corporation, like
Right.
they creating replicants like in Blade Runner or something stupid like that, like whatever it is. If it
Yeah,
closes down tomorrow, I know I could take my same skills and I can go to another platform. I may not like it as much as LinkedIn, but
right.
it it's just a platform change. It's just going from one microphone to another. It's just a different comedy seller,
Yeah. So
you
Red, if
know.
we speak on that, I mean, you said that you can take your skill set to another place and apply it. So
Yeah.
tell us what you're working on nowadays, and something exciting. I mean, what excites you the most? I mean, I know that you have your basics cleared, but
Yeah.
something about future that you're looking forward to.
So right now I'm working on building a 90-day revenue build, like a net revenue re-ramp for like small and medium-sized companies. People who are great at what they do, but may not know how to sell it and how to turn it into a saleable process, going through marketing, going through sales training, going through creating ideal customers, customer retention, and all in 90 days. So that's what
Right.
I'm working on right now. And I'm getting ready to launch that within the next few weeks. Also, really excited. It's a completely free conference that I'm going to be one of the keynote speakers at, the Sales Revival Conference. You could just look it up on LinkedIn. Super excited about that as well too. I'm not just a speaker. I'm a panelist. I'm an exhibitor there.
Cool.
I'm pretty much full bore there. Leon White, who's heading it, is doing an amazing job. November 16th, 17th, 18th, completely free for attendees.
Right.
So, yeah, that's another big, big one.
Great, great. We'll put the links to your podcast and other works in the description of this video.
Yeah.
Red Stafstrom, I again butchered your name. I'm sorry about that. So,
No, you actually got it right. Like Staff Storm was me joking about it with Staff
okay,
Storm was like what telemarketers would call us all the time.
okay, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that they switched the O and the R. No, it's a very Swedish like Staff Storm.
Okay,
Yes.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
wonderful. Red, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving sharing all the insights with our audience. Uh, any last words if you
I mean,
may have?
obviously follow me on LinkedIn, all of that
Yeah.
stuff. This has been a blast. I mean, it's if you're looking me up on LinkedIn and you're listening to this, it's Red Stafstrom, Stafstrom. You'll know because you'll see a beard taking up 80% of the profile picture. So that would be me.
Wonderful, Red. And lastly, if you want to nominate anyone for our show, we'd really appreciate that.
So the person that I'm really loved working with recently, she's been doing a ton of content creation. She actually is building her own platform itself
Wow.
right now. It's called proposalindustryexperts.com. Her name is Catherine Bennett.
Okay.
Um, can't say enough great things. I really can't say enough great things.
Wonderful.
She just gave a TEDx talk. She's also
Nice.
a professional strength trainer. So yeah.
Great, great. Thanks again, Red. We wish you all the best with all your programs that you're starting. And thanks again for your time.
Awesome. Great being here.
And cut. That's it for today's episode, guys. If you really liked it, please check out all the episodes from the Fireside Chat series here. And please subscribe to the Thousand Faces Club and press the bell icon below so that you don't miss any videos from us. Thank you.